Okay, well here we are, and we have arrived at lesson number 16 in our series of 20 lessons on the IELTS speaking course with me, Dr. Raymond Connors from Australia. So far we're doing very, very well. We have this lesson, that's 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20 to go. So we're almost there. Alright, this lesson is going to concentrate very much on parts 2 and 3 of the speaking exam, and the topic of travel, of course, is a very common and popular topic, not only in IELTS but in a lot of things that we do. People are always asking us, where are you going to go for your holidays? Where would you like to go? Where have you been? In the past. So let's see how it relates to IELTS. Let's go. Right, first of all, we need to have a look at this huge list of vocabulary here, and don't forget to put it into our vocabulary, anything that we need to put there. So let's have a look. Of course, the words are not beside the particular picture. A bungalow, what could it mean? Well, I tell you what, I'm going to tell you what these things mean, and you can look them up in a dictionary if you like. But then I want you to match them with the pictures. Well, a bungalow is a small house. A small house. A hotel? I think we all know a hotel. It's a great big building, like an apartment building with a lot of rooms where we go to stay. A penknife. That's a small knife that's about the size of a pen. A tent is a temporary housing device which is generally made out of waterproof material. We can carry it in a backpack, and we can erect our tent in the jungle, by the beach, wherever, sleep in overnight. An art gallery is a place where we can go to see pictures or sculptures, things like that. A hostel is almost like a hotel, but we might have to sleep in a room with other people that we probably don't know. It's a cheap method of staying somewhere, so we don't want to keep valuable things in our backpack. A museum is a place where we would go to see old or beautiful things. A street festival is where people are having great fun in the street, probably a parade, something like that is happening. An apartment is a place where we can go to live in it. It's like a house. Sunscreen, that's stuff that we put on our skin so that we will not get burnt by the sun. A hairdryer, well, that's a thing that can dry our hair. That's pretty obvious, isn't it? A monument is like a statue or something like that that celebrates some person or some event. A rucksack or a backpack is a pack that we carry on our back. We put our things in it and keeps our hands free. An adapter is something that we use to convert electricity supplies from one country to the appliances we have with us, which we brought from our own country. Ancient ruins are old buildings which are probably falling to pieces. Okay, so can you match the words with the pictures? We'll pause the video and I'll get back to you shortly. When you're done, come back. Okay, let's see, which one is a bungalow? Yes, that one down there. It's a very small house. Have you ever stayed in a bungalow? A hotel. Well, this one's Pretty easy, isn't it? We all know what a hotel looks like. This hotel looks like a luxurious hotel, got a swimming pool. A penknife. Well, here we see what we call a Swiss Army knife. It's got lots of little knives and little tools in it, so we can make small repairs on things. A tent, that's that thing there. Some people really like to stay in a tent when they go somewhere. Some people don't like it at all. An art gallery. There's an art gallery. We can see some paintings or some pictures. This one looks to be like it's the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam in Holland, but I'm not sure. It looks like it. Hostel. Here we see a hostel. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, many beds, all in one room. We don't know the other people particularly well, so we don't take any really valuable things into there in case they get stolen. A museum. Yes, there's a museum. I'm there to have a look at some of the old and interesting things that are on display. A street festival where people are having a great time. Look, there's some people, they're walking around, they're running about, having rides on special toys like a merry-go-round or a carousel, balloon rides, etc. Right. An apartment. Yes, we know apartment buildings now, don't we? Sun cream. That's a special sort of medicine that we put on our skin when we're going to be out in the sun and we don't want to get burned by the sun. In some countries, the sun is very strong. For example, in Australia, the sun will bite you in only about 12 minutes. A hairdryer. Well, there it is. I don't really need a hairdryer, but this man does, and you probably do too. A monument is something like that. This looks like it's a statue of something like a famous Roman. Would be celebrating somebody's life. A rucksack, or backpack, it's sometimes called, is that thing there. We've all used them, I am sure. An adapter to chain electrical supply from the country that we're visiting so that we can use it on the things like hair dryers that we bring from our own country, because sometimes they're different. And ancient ruins. Ruins means something that's sort of broken, I suppose we could say, but still there. Ancient means old. So there we see some ancient ruins there, down in that corner. Okay, very good. Now let's put our new vocabulary into the correct category. The categories are accommodation, or that means places where we can stay, sites, which we can go to see, travel accessories, things that we might take with us on our journey or our trip when we travel. We already know all these words, but what we have to do now is decide what each of these words is a part of: accommodation, sites, or travel accessories. Okay, let's stop the video, or let's pause the video while you put them into their correct categories, and then you can come back. Pause the video now. Okay, so you're back. Let's see how you did. A bungalow, we heard, was a small house. So therefore it would most definitely be in accommodation, places where we can sleep or stay. The next one, a hotel, is also accommodation. People might say, what sort of accommodation did you look for when you went on your holiday? Oh, I decided to rent a bungalow, or I stayed in a hotel, etc. A penknife is the next thing, isn't it? So a penknife, that's a travel accessory. It's something we take with us, which we will probably use on our trip. A tent. A tent is accommodation. Like I said, some people like to stay in a tent in the jungle or by the beach. The trouble with going and staying in a tent is they're not air conditioned, usually, and sometimes bugs like ants, mosquitoes, snakes, spiders also live in the jungle, don't they? And they might want to come to stay with us in our tent. An art gallery. Well, an art gallery, that's a site. That's somewhere where we go to see something. We don't live in an art gallery. Hostel is most definitely accommodation. It's a place where we sleep. A museum is a site. It's something we go to see. We don't stay there, and we don't take it home with us. I hope not. A street festival. Well, we would have to call that a site because we've only got 3 categories. An apartment is going to be accommodation. Sun cream to keep the sun from biting us is going to be a travel accessory. A hairdryer will most definitely be a travel accessory. A monument will be a site. A rucksack will be a travel accessory. It's the thing that we put our belongings in to travel around. An adapter will also be a travel accessory. And ancient ruins, of course, will be a site. There's something that we will go to see. Out of these types of things, what sort of things have you used when you've gone travelling somewhere? Have you stayed in a bungalow? Or have you stayed in a hostel? Or a hotel? Or a tent? And what sort of sights did you see when you went to another place? Did you see a monument? Ancient ruins? How about a street festival? Did you go to any museums or art galleries? And what are some things you took with you on your trip? Did you take a penknife, sun cream, a hairdryer, an adapter, a rucksack, or did you use a suitcase? All interesting things to talk about, aren't they? Alright, now let's have a look at describing a trip. Let's have a look at some of these words and decide, what do they mean? Educational. Of course, we could go on an educational trip to learn things. A hazardous trip. Hazardous means dangerous. We maybe did something quite dangerous like skydiving. Or maybe we had a peaceful holiday. Nothing really happened. We just relaxed. Exciting. Well, most holidays are exciting, aren't they? Yes. Hectic means very, very busy. Relaxing. Well, doing nothing. Just lying around, enjoying, having a nap, a sleep. Expensive. A lot of money. Inspiring. Makes me want to do something special. Romantic. Moonlight. beautiful warm weather with somebody we love. Full of adventure. Lots of interesting things to do. Low budget. A budget is the amount of money that we have to spend. If it's low budget, it means we don't have a lot of money to spend. Tedious is another word for boring. Okay, so we've got a lot of new words here. If you want to look some of them up in a dictionary, please feel free to do so, and add the ones that you think might be of interest to you to your vocabulary book, so that you can use them when the examiner says, "Tell me about a trip you took recently." Where did you go? Who did you go with? Please describe this trip. And you can use any of these adjectives to describe the trip. Don't forget, you can also add adverbs. It was really educational. It was rather hazardous. My recent trip was very peaceful. My recent trip to Antarctica was very exciting. My shopping trip was extremely hectic. And so on. What I want you to do now is think about how you will describe a trip. And talk about it using some of these adjectives. You don't have to know them all. You don't have to remember them all. Just remember to talk about a trip and use some of these adjectives, and also try to add some adverbs like really, very, rather, exceptionally. Out of these, educational, well, look at that. Learning something. Hazardous, like we said before, means dangerous. And peaceful, well, look at that. That picture of that water certainly looks peaceful. And exciting. Wow, I loved it, I loved it, I loved it. Hectic. Many, many things to do. Relaxing. Yes, that's relaxing. Expensive. Wow, that's a lot of money. Inspiring. Made me think about doing something. Romantic. Full of adventure. Yay! Look at that. That is so adventurous, isn't it? Low budget. I didn't have much money, so I went on a low budget trip. Tedious. Oh, I thought going to the museum was so tedious. Oh. Right. Good. Let's carry on. So look at the places we can see in these pictures. What do you think it would be like to visit each of these places? We're going to now use what we call a hypothetical structure, which means how you think about it, but really you have not done it, or you've never been there before. For example, I imagine a trip to Thailand would be very relaxing. So think about how you can use hypothetical. I imagine. I think. In my opinion. It's virtually just another way of talking about your opinion, but it indicates really that you haven't done it, but this is what you would think about it if it came true. So, look at this. In this sentence, they talk about I think, to my way of thinking. A trip to Thailand would be very, adverb, rather, and then the adjective. So here you can pause the video, think about how a trip to some of these places might be, and get back to me. But before we do, let's check we know where these places are. Thailand, of course. Bangkok in Asia. London in the UK, the capital of Britain. Moscow, the capital city of Russia. Nepal, high in the mountains, north of India, very cold place. Paris, the city of lights, so cultural. Kenya, that's in Africa. Animals. Baghdad, look, there's a soldier there. It doesn't look like a really exciting place. Well, it might be an exciting place to go, but I don't think I particularly want to go there if I have to worry about if I'm going to get shot or something. Alaska, that's a state in the USA. It's way up north to Alaska. And they've got big bears there. They've got fishing there. They've got lots of snow and they've got mountains. It's the wilderness. So, pause the video. Think about what a trip to one of these places might be like. And then come back. Pause the video now. Okay, how did you do? Did you use expressions like I imagine, to my way of thinking, I think, and then tell us a little bit about the place and how you would describe it with an adjective, also with an adverb. For example, to my way of thinking, a trip to Moscow would be most intriguing because I am very interested in the Russian culture and also in some of their artistic things and traditions. You see how I used a hypothetical structure. I said where I would like to go. I used adjective, and I did use a qualifying adverb, and I said why I would like to go there. I would score well. And if you did the same about some of these places, then you too would have a very, very good score. Excellent. Phrases for describing travel destinations. Vibrant. Sandy. Delicious. Friendly. Heavy. Freezing. Diverse. Breathtaking. Medieval. And on the right side, we have nouns. Of course, there's more than one collocation that is possible here. What does it mean? Vibrant. It's like exciting. Sandy. Lots of sand. Delicious. It tastes good. Friendly, we know. Heavy. Freezing, very cold. Diverse. A lot of different things. Breathtaking. Medieval. From the medieval times. Down here, architecture, the style of beaches we know. Cuisine, style of food. Landscape we know. Local, the people who live there. Nightlife. Bands, concerts, dance clubs. Temperatures, how hot or how cold. Traffic, cars, buses, motorbikes. Wildlife, animals. Okay, pause the video for a little while now and match these up. See what sort of combinations you come up with. Don't forget, there's more than one combination possible in each case. Pause the video now and come back when you've done that. Okay, we're back. What do you think? Vibrant nightlife. Yes. Oh, Vienna has a vibrant nightlife. Ho Chi Minh City has vibrant locals. And Russia, Moscow, has vibrant cuisine. Very exciting food. Sandy. Well, there's not much we can say about Sandy. Would normally be beaches, wouldn't it? Yes. Delicious. Delicious cuisine. It would be delicious cuisine. Friendly is going to be about people, isn't it? Usually. So locals. Friendly locals. Heavy. Whoops. Where's the one for heavy? Oh, there isn't one. Heavy traffic, we would say. Freezing temperatures. Diverse, well, we could say architecture. Diverse cuisine. Diverse landscapes. Diverse wildlife. Different types of these things. Breathtaking architecture. Breathtaking beaches. Breathtaking landscapes. Breathtaking traffic. And breathtaking wildlife means, look at that. Medieval. From the 1100s, 900s to 1100s. Architecture. Okay, how did we do? So we could talk about these sorts of things now. Can you think of some of these to use in a sentence? When I went to Thailand, I thought Bangkok had vibrant locals and it had absolutely delicious cuisine. And it had very heavy traffic. Okay, very good. Which places do you think are known for some of these things? Try to make sentences like this. Thailand is known for its sandy beaches. Okay, let's move along. Now we're going to practice part 2. We know what to do with this because we've been doing it so often. Describe a place that you would like to travel to. You should say where you would like to go, how you would go there, who you would go with, and explain why you would like to go to this place. Analyze the tense. Oh, it looks like hypothetical question. So, we would have to be talking about in the future. I would like to go. How many things do you need to talk about? Plan for 1 minute. Talk for up to 2 minutes. Pause the video and come back. Okay. You know what to do now, so you should have been able to answer this very well. I would. Yes. Describe a trip you have made. Past tense. You should say where you went, past tense. How you went there, past tense. There, past tense. And say whether you enjoyed the trip and why. Okay. So, analyze. Plan, 1 minute. Speak for 2 minutes. Just pause the video. Come back. Okay, you're back. Did you do well? Excellent. Just now. What tense will you use here? We know. Part 3 discussion. Discuss all of these questions. What's the most interesting place you have been to? What places in your country would you recommend for visitors? What do you think are the benefits of travel? What are the drawbacks or negatives of tourism? Has the way people travel changed in recent years? Don't forget to expand on your answers. Okay. Pause the video. Answer as many of these as you can, saying why, and also expanding by giving consequences in some cases. Great. That is the end of lesson 16. We're really getting there now. After this lesson, we only have 4 more lessons to go. Keep doing it. Practice, practice, practice. Makes perfect. See you in the next lesson. Bye for now. Now we're up to lesson number 17 in our 20 lessons on IELTS speaking. And I'm Dr. Raymond Connors. Yes, that's me, up in the corner there. Hi! We're doing very well with this because if we've been doing all of the exercises and paying attention to all the lectures up to now, we are very competent, very competent. So now let's get on. We're going to be talking today about letters and emails, and the focus of our lesson today is going to be on part 2 and part 3 of the IELTS speaking test. It's unlikely that an examiner would ask anything about letters and emails in part 1. It doesn't mean it couldn't happen. It could. But this is primarily where we will find any questions about emails and letters in parts 2 and parts 3. Of course, probably in the past, the question would have been more about letters, but with the advance of information technology and computers, it's more likely to be about emails. And there have been quite a few questions in the past about making comparisons between the effectiveness of emails and letters. So we need to have the vocabulary to be able to talk about them and distinguish them if we're asked. Okay, shall we carry on? Yes, good idea. So let's just have a bit of a discussion and think about these. What do you say about some of these things? This is not particularly about emails and letters. These are just about general topics that might come in part 3. So discuss each or all of these questions and think about answers that you might give to these and come back to me. Okay, what's the most interesting place you have been to? Very interesting, isn't it? Which places in your country would you recommend for visitors? What do you think are the benefits of travel? What are the drawbacks of tourism? Has the way people travel changed in recent years? Some of these questions are relatively repeated. Why? Practice makes perfect. So don't look upon them as being boring. Look at them as extra practice and extra ways to answer the similar questions. All right, have a look at these, construct answers. Now don't forget, if this is part 3 particularly, you do need to expand your answer with why or consequences. Things like that. You need to make complex sentences. As an example, let's see. Let's try this one. What's the most interesting place you have ever been to? Don't forget some of our tactics that we can use. So you want to know the most interesting place that I've been to. In my opinion, I would think that the country of Vietnam has probably the most interesting place I've ever been to, because from north to south, there is such a diverse variety of cultures and ethnic types of people. The people there in the north and in the south, although they all speak a common language, it is spoken in a different way. The food is different. And so you see how I have expanded on this. Okay, so now let's stop the video. You get an answer to each of these questions and come back to me. Stop the video now. Okay, so you're back. Did you think of an answer to all of these? Did you expand your basic answer with reasons or consequences? And did you use some of the tactics that we have discussed in the past? For example, in my opinion, stating your opinion, or restating the question so that you buy some time. Oh, right. Well, if you did that and you gave a reason by adding because and other things like therefore and so, etc., then you are very likely to score very well in part 3. As I said, same questions in IELTS virtually over and over and over again. They're generally just asked in slightly different ways. But you need to be able to answer them in good ways. Don't forget to keep expanding on your vocabulary book, but selecting only the words that you feel you will do well with, you will be able to understand, you will be able to use efficiently. So let's think about letters now. There's quite a difference between letters and emails, although more and more lately we do communicate by emails or even instant messages. So how many different types of letter can you think of? Here is a list, and I'm sure you can add more to it. A letter of acceptance. A letter of acceptance means thank you, I accept your invitation, or yes, you have got the job, and you say thank you, I will take the job. An overdue payment reminder. A letter saying, oh, you owe us this amount of money and it's time that you paid it, or it's past the time that you've paid it. Overdue. A job application is a type of a letter. Yes, it is. We might apply by email, but we will attach a letter to our email. The email might just say, I'm applying for your job as a train conductor that you advertised in such and such a magazine. My application letter, my CV, is attached. A wedding invitation. Please come to my wedding. A letter of condolence. Condolence means being sad on account of some other person. Maybe somebody has a relative or a family member who passed away. Passed away is a polite way of saying died. So you might send a letter to say, I am so sad to hear about the passing of your father. He was a great man, blah, 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 blah. An academic recommendation letter. Recommendation means if, for example, I say, oh, my friend so-and-so is an excellent student. So an academic recommendation letter would be about study. My student, Fred Smith, is an absolute perfect student when it comes to learning to knit jumpers. A thank you letter. Oh, thank you so much for your kindness in sending me your letter of condolence upon the passing of my father. Okay, a thank you letter. This could be a lot of these can be formal or informal. Right? Formal meaning they need to be written in the correct register and using the correct words to make them very polite. Some of them may not need to be quite so formal. Okay, what about an apology letter? Oh, we often get this from companies where we've gotten some product or something and it wasn't good or bad service, Oh, we are so sorry that you had a bad experience with our company. We would like to offer you some compensation, and therefore, next time you come to our restaurant, we would like to offer you 20% off your next meal. Right. A letter of congratulations. Congratulations on your graduation from the IELTS course with Dr. Raymond. And of course you will get that, because you will do very well in this course. Congratulations. I'd like to congratulate you on your wedding. I'm sorry I could not come to your wedding, but I really have very strong feelings and I wish you the best and wish you all happiness, health, and a long, prosperous life. A job offer, that will usually come in the form of a letter, although we might often get a phone call from the boss saying, "Hey, you got the job." He will follow it up with a job offer by a letter saying, "Thank you for your job application. We are very happy to be able to formally offer you the position as we discussed. We would like you to start on such and such a date, and could you please on your first day bring with you your birth certificate, your educational qualifications, etc, 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 etc." All right, let's have a look about what is the purpose of a letter. We're going to have to match the columns to form a completed sentence. So on the left we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things, and on the right 6 ways to end the sentence. Right. Let's have a look. Let's start off to make sure we know what they all mean. The letter confirmed. That means it says yes, it's true. The letter was written. Hey, that's pretty easy, isn't it? The letter was addressed. That means how did the letter begin? The letter, well, we don't know about that. That's just the letter. The letter informed me. Informed is another way of saying told me some information. The letter thanked me. The letter said thank you very much. Let's have a look about on the right hand side. By my best friend and his future wife. Well, best friend. Future wife means not married yet, but will be soon. For my hospitality. Hospitality is when we make our home available to other people. Right? So maybe we stayed at some people's place and we send them a letter to say thank you very much. So they will say, "Oh, he thanked me for my hospitality." My acceptance to university. Accept means allowed to begin something, allowed to come in. That I hadn't paid my internet bill. Oh, wow. To the company's recruitment department. Recruitment. The act of asking somebody to join a company to start work there. Was about my mother's death. Well, okay. So, stop the video now and see if you can match parts on the left side to the parts on the right side so that the sentence makes some sense. Pause the video now, do the exercise, and come back. Okay, so you're back. What did you think was the best fit? Let's have a look. The letter confirmed my acceptance to university. Of course, it could probably also confirm that I hadn't paid my internet bill, but it's more likely to be what we've suggested here. The letter was written by my best friend and his future wife. The letter was addressed. In other words, where was it directed? The letter was addressed to the company's recruitment department. The letter was about my mother's death. The letter informed me that I hadn't paid my internet bill. The letter thanked me for my hospitality. How did you do? The way these sentences work now seems to make some sense. The letter confirmed my acceptance to university. That sounds grammatically perfect. The letter was written by my best friend and his future wife. Perfect. The letter was addressed to the company's recruitment department. The letter was about my mother's death. The letter informed me that I hadn't paid my internet bill. The letter thanked me for my hospitality. All good, all good. I hope you did well. If you did, you're certainly on the way to doing well with this. What kind of letter is each sentence about? The letter confirmed my acceptance to university? Well, that's an acceptance letter, isn't it? What about the letter was written by my best friend and his future wife? Well, it's probably just information, really. The letter was addressed to the company's recruitment department. It's probably something to do with job applications. The letter was about my mother's death, so it's probably a condolence letter, probably saying, sorry to hear about your mum's death. The letter informed me that I hadn't paid my internet bill, so that would be a money collection letter, wouldn't it? Pretty much. A debt collection letter. The letter thanked me for my hospitality, so that would definitely be a thank you letter for sure. All right, let's talk about describing emotional responses. Emotional means how we feel. Response means what I do, what I say in return for something that somebody else says. The adjectives and expressions can be used to describe how you feel about receiving a letter or an email, and can you put them in the correct category to decide whether they're positive, that is good, negative, not good, or neutral, not good, not bad. Have a look at these words before we carry on. I will give a short description of what these words mean, but you can, of course, look them up in a dictionary. Don't forget to add some to your expanding vocabulary book. Delighted, very happy. Indifferent, so what? Depressed, so. Here is a good colloquial expression, an idiom, over the moon. If we can jump so high that we can jump over the moon, it means we've got a lot of energy, we're very excited. Over the moon, very excited. Disappointed, not happy. Overjoyed, more than happy. Wow. Excited, oh yeah, very good. Saddened, heartbroken, oh no. Upset, I don't like that. Alright, so now we know the meanings. You can pause the video, put these words into the correct category, positive, negative, or neutral, and come back to me. Pause the video now. Okay, let's have a look. What did you think? Delighted. Yes, that's positive, isn't it? That's good if I'm delighted. I was delighted to receive the letter from the lucky ticket office that told me I just won $1 million. Yeah, delighted. Indifferent is neutral. They sent me a letter to say that they're going to upgrade the street here. I mean, do I care? That's nice, but yeah, okay. What about depressed? Yes, that's negative. After I got the letter about my uncle passing away, I was a bit depressed. Poor Uncle Len. Over the moon is positive. Wow! When I found out that I had been accepted into the university that I had really wanted to be in, I was over the moon. Right. Disappointed is negative. When I got the letter from the university that I wanted to get in saying, I'm sorry, we are not able to offer you a place in our university. I was disappointed. I was a bit sad, yes. And overjoyed, of course, is positive. When my girlfriend said, yes, I will marry you, I was overjoyed. Oh, yeah, it was great. Excited. Positive, of course, that's positive. I was very excited when I got a bonus at my work, and I also was given a free holiday for my family for 2 weeks in Vanuatu. Wow, that was beautiful. Very excited. Saddened. Negative. I was rather saddened to hear of my good friend from school was killed in a motorcycle accident. Heartbroken. That's negative. When my girlfriend ran away with another man, I was heartbroken. It took me about 1 year to recover from being so heartbroken. Upset. When the police sent me a special letter saying that I had been caught on the speed camera by going too fast, and I had to send them $462. I was pretty upset. Yeah, I was angry about that. I want to go to burn down the police station. Yeah. Okay. Think about 2 important letters or emails that you have received. 1, a positive experience, and 1 negative experience. And give 1 or 2 sentences about each, like in this example. Your descriptions could be more natural and interesting if you used qualifying adverbs like we've suggested in the past, such as a bit, a little, slightly, quite, fairly, very, really, and extremely. For example, I was really excited to receive the news that I was admitted into the university. However, I was somewhat depressed by another letter I received that day to say that my application for a loan to buy a new car was rejected. Alright, so pause the video now and think of a sentence or 2 sentences. Remember, you can combine them to make a complex sentence. Use adjectives like we have here, excited, and qualify it with an adverb, really excited, right? But you could make this more complex, however, and talk about the second one. Pause the video, compose your answer, and come back. Okay, now you're back. How did you do? Were you able to combine 2 ideas? Were you able to expand it by putting the 2 sentences together? Were you able to use some of the vocabulary we talked about before, about letters? And were you able to add adverbs to your adjectives, like these ones here, extremely, very, fairly, etc.? If you did all that, you're headed for a very good score. Let's do some part 2 questions to practice. Yes, we're getting so good at this. Repetition, repetition, repetition. But practice, practice, practice makes perfect. Don't forget, a mind map for 1 minute, a 2-minute talk. Make sure you cover everything that's in the question, and don't forget to open the talk and close the talk. If you do all those things, part 2 will be a doddle. When we say something's a doddle, there's another idiomatic expression. Something is a doddle, it means it's easy. Because we've practiced so well with this and we know what to do, part 2, speaking in IELTS, is going to become quite a doddle for us. Right. Describe an important letter that you received. You should say who wrote it, what it was about, how you felt about the letter, and explain why it was important. Analysis. We know what to do with analysis? Tenses. How many things do we have to talk about? Add, opening, and closing. 1 minute preparation, 2 minutes talk. Pause the video and come back to me. Pause now. Okay, come back. We're back. So, did you analyze it? What was the tense? Yes. So, it was all in the past tense, wasn't it? Perfect. And, did you work out how many things you have to talk about? Good. Did you make a mind map? Did it take you about 1 minute or under to make the mind map? Excellent. Did you talk for 2 minutes or nearly 2 minutes, and did you cover everything? If you did, success will be yours. Describe an important letter or email you wrote to someone. You should say who you wrote it to, what it was about, how you think the receiver felt after receiving it, and explain why this letter or email was important to you. Analyze. Plan. Cover everything. Talk for up to 2 minutes. Pause the video. Prepare. Okay, now we're back. You know whether you did what you should or not, don't you? Yes, I think you're getting really good at this. Okay. Part 3, discussion about letters and emails. Don't forget to expand on your answers. Do you write letters? Why or why not? Do you think people will still write letters in the future? What are the differences between emails and handwritten letters? How has the way we communicate changed in the past 50 years? How will communication change in the future? Okay, we're almost at the end of this lesson. However, pause the video, get your answer ready to each of these, and come back and we'll discuss it a little bit. Pause now. Okay, you're back. You know to expand your answers so that you've got reasons and consequences. Let's have a look at, we'll just have a quick look at number 3. What are the differences between emails and handwritten letters? Oh, to my way of thinking, the difference between emails and handwritten letters is mostly about the personal touch. An email often seems to be rather generic and computer generated, whereas a handwritten letter tells me that the person who wrote it thinks a lot more of my friendship and my opinions than someone who just sent me an email. I feel like when someone delivers me a handwritten letter that I'm rather special because they went to a special effort to do it. See what I mean? I expanded on it, and I did start with one of our tactics about my opinion to my way of thinking. Right. So that shouldn't take you long to do all of these. And if you covered all of these rather well by using some of the tactics we talked about, and you used complex sentences by adding consequences or reasons, then you will do very well in part 3. Any new vocabulary that you come across when you're constructing these answers, please be sure to add them to your expanding vocabulary book, which must be getting pretty large by now. Remember, when looking at the vocabulary book, you do not need a really huge vocabulary, just one that you can use well and efficiently. most native English speakers, by the way, in everyday conversation generally don't use any more than about 5,000 English words. So your vocabulary book doesn't need to be absolutely huge. 5,000 words is not particularly a lot of words, but when you realize the English language has got more than 50,000 words in reasonable common usage. Okay, enough for now. That's the end of lesson number 17. We've only got lesson 18, 19 and 20 to go to get to the end, so only 3 more. We're doing well. Absolutely fantastically. Thank you. See you in the next lesson. Bye for now. So, hello my friends. Here we are at lesson number 18 now in our course on IELTS Speaking. 20 lesson course. We're doing very well. We're moving along absolutely tremendously. Now, what we're going to do today, we're going to be talking about a vocabulary, etc., that we will need to be able to talk about the weather. If we're going to a place like the UK to study or to live or to work, this is one of the topics of conversation which is very, very common in England. They have such terrible weather that it definitely is a subject of conversation frequently. So let's see if we can talk about the weather. Today our lesson is going to focus very much on vocabulary about the weather and not so much on tactics. Right, so let's have a look here. We see here a whole lot of pictures and we have some words down here. And what we have to do here, the exercise, is to try to match up the words with the pictures. Here are some of the words, and we'll go through these and have a bit of a look at them and how to pronounce them, etc. A breeze, fog, a cyclone, hail, a gale, lightning, a heat wave, mist, a hurricane, sunshine, a tornado, thunder. Now, of course, the exercise is going to be a vocabulary building exercise. When you see some new words, you could put them in your expanding vocabulary book, which is by now becoming quite impressive. But as we go through these, let me give you a quick explanation of them so that maybe you don't really need to go to a dictionary. But if you want to go to a dictionary to help build your vocabulary, that is just fine. A breeze is a slight wind, not a really big wind, a gentle wind. A fog, a fog is very, very light rain that generally hangs about in the air, and it just looks like a big white blanket has come down on us. Yeah. A cyclone is a storm which gathers strength as it goes along over the ocean. When it comes to the land, it breaks up, and it is quite destructive. Cyclones are in the southern hemisphere, and they work anti-clockwise, that is, in the opposite way to a clock. And they're very common in my country, in Australia. A gale is a strong wind, just a strong wind. It might not last very long. A heat wave is a time, perhaps a few days even, when the temperature gets very high and it's very hot and it's very uncomfortable. A hurricane is quite like a cyclone, but it's generally in the northern hemisphere. very strong winds, lots of rain, and very destructive. A tornado is a storm which often comes in North America. It is a very concentrated storm of a very small area, and the winds in it are very strong, and they can suck up animals like cows, houses even, cars, people, but they are not very large, but they are very, very disruptive. Hail is ice that falls from the sky. Lightning is the light that we see during a storm. The light comes for a few seconds, a big flash of electricity, and then it's gone. A mist is very much like a fog. Very, very fine rain. Sunshine, well, we all know about sunshine. It makes us happy. We like to be out in the sunshine and it's warm. Thunder is the sound that comes just before lightning in a storm. Yeah, like that. Okay, so now's the time to pause the video and to try to match up the pictures with the words. Don't forget to add to your vocabulary book, because your vocabulary is getting bigger and bigger, and the weather is a particularly important subject if you are going to go to Britain or the United Kingdom to study, work, or live. Pause the video now and come back to me. Okay, so now you're back. Let's see. We know the first one because it's been done for us. Hail. Balls of ice that fall from the sky during a storm. If you get hit on the head with one of these, it can be very dangerous. It can probably kill you. And how about the next one, which will be a breeze? We said a breeze was a very gentle wind. You see, so the one in this one is very gentle. It's not doing a lot. It's not destroying anything. It's just like a little breath, isn't it? A cyclone. There's a cyclone. That picture is taken from a satellite above the Earth, I would suggest. You see, and it covers quite a large area. And inside there are winds, rain, hail, lightning, etc. Very bad. A gale. Here we see a gale. These girls their umbrella is turning inside out. It's a strong wind. Doesn't usually last very long, but it's just a strong wind that's very, very annoying. A heat wave is a time when the temperature rises considerably and we are very, very uncomfortable. Sometimes it'll last for a few hours, sometimes a few days, sometimes a week or more. And we always feel very tired. We have to drink a lot of water. We have to try to stay in the cool and not go out in the sunshine. A hurricane is a very destructive storm. And here we see the effect on the ocean. It's causing the waves to rise very, very high and very strong. And the next one is a tornado. We said that this was a very, very narrow storm. And here's one here. They can suck up into the sky many things. But of course, after a while, when these things get up in the sky, what do? They fall down. What goes up must come down. And what have we got now? A fog. We see the fog. Look at that. We can see that we know what a fog is. We've all experienced it. It's very, very light rain. We can't see through it very well. Sometimes it's very thick, and sometimes it's not so thick. And what have we got next here? Next we have lightning. Yeah, lightning strikes and it can cause fires. If lightning strikes you, it might kill you. It's very, very concentrated electricity. Where did they get the electricity? Oh, it's naturally occurring. It's not man-made at all. And what's our next word here? Here we see a mist. You see, a mist and a fog seem to be the same sort of thing, don't they? Yes, they are. They're very much the same sort of thing, but a mist generally is slightly heavier rain than the fog. And sunshine. Look at that. What a happy face that sun has got. We generally associate sunshine with happiness and comfort and joy. And then we have thunder. See, the man's put his fingers in his ears because it's very loud. It's a very loud, rumbling noise in the sky. Scares dogs, scares children, cats, and it can even be so strong it can shake our house. Wow. So now we've got a lot of vocabulary to talk about the weather. So let's move along a little bit. So now we have a look at some words, and just to help us reinforce our understanding of some of the words that we've learnt already, we have to decide. We put these in certain categories. Of course, some words may go into more than one category. The words we've just learned, we have to decide whether we would be talking about those words or using those words when we're describing stormy weather, that is, when the storm's going, dry weather, no rain, wet weather, when it's raining, or windy weather. Right. So, you can pause the video again here and do this exercise. Put them in the right category. Remember, they could go in more than one category. And come back to me and we will check them. Pause the video now. Okay, we're back. What did you think? Don't forget, if you had to look them up in a dictionary, that's even better. And even better if you said, here is a new word, I will put it in my vocabulary book. So let's check it out. A breeze. Well, it's windy, isn't it? It's a little bit windy. But a breeze, we said, is a very gentle wind. But it's wind, so windy weather. A cyclone. Of course, we will experience a cyclone. It will be stormy weather. Rather. Very stormy, actually. A gale. Well, it might not actually be in a storm, but it would definitely be in windy weather. Of course, in things like a cyclone or a hurricane, we probably will have gales. That is, bursts of wind. But let's just for now say windy weather. A heat wave will definitely be in dry weather, because if it rains, it will cool things down. But a heat wave will generally happen when there is no rain about. A hurricane could be stormy weather, and of course it could be windy weather. Most likely it will be quite windy in a hurricane, and it will be very stormy. A tornado. That will be stormy weather. Of course, it will probably be windy as well. Might even be wet because it might rain during a tornado. Fog. Well, it will generally be a bit wet when there's a fog. We always feel a little bit wet after we've walked through fog. Hail. It's going to be stormy weather. This is the ice that falls from the sky. Very strange to think about that, isn't it? How the ice is up there in the sky and it's heavier than the air and it stays there until such time as it falls down. Well, actually, it's just moisture, and the clouds are so cold that it freezes that moisture, and when it's too heavy for the cloud to hold it anymore, it falls down. Just like rain, but it's so cold it turns to ice. Lightning, well, definitely during stormy weather. We generally don't see lightning in dry weather. And a mist, well, it also will be wet if we have a mist. Sunshine usually will be in dry weather, but of course sometimes we have a combination. We might have cloudy weather, but with sunshine coming through from time to time. And thunder will always be in stormy weather, very likely. How did you do? Did you get most of these right, do you think? Good, you'll be able to talk about that. So let's move along. Now, which of the above weather conditions do you think are common in your country? And which ones are not common? Think about that. This could be a question in IELTS, and you might have to expand on this. What sort of weather conditions are common in your country? And which ones are not common? Think about how to answer those. Weather collocations. Collocations are words that go together to make phrases, to make common phrases or common sentences. Here we have to match the words to form phrases. What's phrases? More than one word put together, and a collocation is a collection of words that normally go together in English. So you can stop the video here, do this exercise, see if you can put them together, and come back to me once you've done that. Pause the video now. Okay, so we're back. Did you put them together? Excellent, excellent. Let's see what we think about them and see how many you got right. So we might talk about heavy rain. That means a lot of water is falling from the sky. So it's a heavy rain. Warm sunshine. Oh yes. If you're going to go to live in a country like England, you will really appreciate the days when you get warm sunshine. Because normally it's cloudy, it's raining, or it's foggy, or there's a mist. And when the warm sunshine days come, oh, everybody in England is happy. Dense means very thick. So it will be a dense fog. The fog will be so thick or so dense that you can't see very far in it. Very dangerous for driving. In London, in England, they are famous for their very dense fogs. They call them pea soup fogs. You know how we can make a soup from the vegetable a pea? We can't see through it, right? So they say we have a pea soup fog. Very, very thick. Of course, it's not green like pea soup. It's generally white. A light... what? A light breeze. In this case, light means gentle. Gentle. A light breeze. Freezing. Well, of course, freezing and cold go together. Today, it's freezing cold. The temperature is under 0. It's freezing cold. And then the opposite is boiling hot. Of course, the sun generally won't make us boil, like putting some water on the stove and cooking it, but it will make us feel like we are in the hot water. So we can say boiling hot is a very common expression. Overcast. This is an unusual word that we haven't seen before. Overcast refers to the sun being covered by clouds. We can't see the sky because the clouds are covering it. So, of course, we will talk about overcast skies, a condition which is very common in England. They have overcast skies most of the time. Can any of these phrases be used to describe the weather recently where you live? You think about it. Tell and make some sentences a little bit about it. You could say, "Oh, yesterday in my city we had heavy rain and overcast skies, but it was so nice when the warm sunshine broke through and we were all happy." All right, let's go along. Describing the climate. How we're going to talk about the climate when the examiner asks us, "What do you think the climate or the weather is like in your country?" Now, there is a difference between the words climate and weather. Weather is how things are atmospherically today or recently. Climate is how the weather generally behaves. So, let's have a look at these two halves. Down the left side we have 7 starts of sentences, and on the right, the ending of the sentences. Let's check out a couple of these. It's often very chilly. Chilly. Chilly is another way of saying cold. Chilly. It's not a vegetable. It's spelled differently, that one. Chilly means, oh, it's feeling very chilly today. It gets pretty hot. Pretty hot. Notice here, we're talking about, in those two sentences, we're talking about adjectives, and notice adverbs are modifying the adjectives. Very chilly, pretty hot. Pretty is a very strange word in English. It has a number of meanings. Pretty can mean beautiful, but it also means very or rather. Strange language, isn't it? There are often heavy downpours. A downpour means the water comes out of the sky very strongly. So we call that a downpour. So in tropical countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, when the rain comes, it's usually a heavy downpour. A lot of water falls from the sky. It's always very misty. Well, we know what a mist is, so misty refers to a mist. There's usually a fresh breeze. Fresh. Invigorating. Makes us want to wake up. It hardly ever rains. Hardly. Not often. There's snow all year round. All year round means all of the year. Okay, so pause the video, do the matching, and come back to me and we'll check it. Pause now. Okay, so now you're back. Which parts go together? Which parts seem to make sense? It's often very chilly in winter. It gets pretty hot during the summer. Notice the difference here. We said in winter and during the summer. We can say during winter is fine, or in the summer is fine too. They both mean the same. There are often heavy downpours during the rainy season. For those of us who live in tropical places, we know about the rainy season. It's always very misty in the autumn. In some places there's a lot of fog in the autumn time, or the fall as it's called in USA. There's usually a fresh breeze by the sea. But it hardly ever rains during the dry season. There's snow all year round in the mountains. In some places. In some places, no. Which of the above sentences could be used to describe the climate in your country? Think about it. Can you talk a little bit about the climate in your country, which is how the weather performs on a long-term basis? Good job, good job. Weather around the world. Now look at these places, and we'll assume that you know where these places are. What do you think the weather is like in each of these places? We can use hypothetical structures like in my opinion, or I think, or my understanding is. Brazil, well, that's in South America. Canada, it's in North America, it's north of the USA. So we have to be thinking about, are these places hot or cold? Egypt, well, we know Egypt is a lot of it is desert. That is, not much rain. India, well, India's a pretty big place with a lot of different weather. Russia, we know it's pretty cold in Russia, especially in the winter. Spain, oh look, we get a hint, sunshine. Thailand, Thailand's tropical. Remember, the rainy season. And in the United Kingdom, of course, that's England. So, pause the video. Think about how you would describe the weather in each of these places if you know them, or you're aware of them, and come back to me. Okay, so now we're back. What are we going to say? Let's say I will choose Russia, but we need to be able to talk about all of them. Oh, what's the weather like in Russia, you ask? To my way of thinking and to my knowledge from speaking to people from Russia, I know it's very cold in the winter, with heavy snowfalls. But in the summer, it becomes very hot because they have a continental climate. In some places it gets really warm. But overall, it rains quite a lot in Russia, and there's a lot of snow in the winter. Okay, part 2 of IELTS Speaking exam, mind map, and speaking for 2 minutes. Don't forget, analyze, plan, and speak. Describe your favourite season in your country. You should say when that season is, season being, there are 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. What the weather is like at that time of the year, how that season is different from other seasons, and explain why it is your favourite season. Pause, analyse, plan, talk, 2 minutes. Okay, next one. Describe an experience you had with bad weather. You should say what sort of bad weather it was, when it happened, where you were when it happened, and explain how it affected you and what you did. Don't forget the procedure. Analyze, plan, talk. Come back to me. And let's discuss these part 3. Remember to add to our answer. Do different parts of your country experience different types of bad weather? How does bad weather affect people's moods? Why do people live in places where the weather can sometimes be bad? Do you think people who live in cold places have different personalities to people who live in warm or hot places? Do you think there are any problems with the world's climate now? Hey, all common type questions that could very well be asked in part 3 of the IELTS exam. So don't forget, when you answer these questions, expand your answer. Reasons, consequences. Try them. Pause the video, work out some answers, and come back to me. Okay, so now we're done. Did we expand on our answers? If so, we'll probably do very well indeed. Okay, so that's about all for this lesson. We're doing very well. This is lesson number 18. We only have 2 to go. And by now, we are superbly practiced in all parts of the IELTS exam. So the next 2 lessons are going to be ones where we can just virtually practice more of what we already know and add some new vocabulary. The next one is going to be about sports and games. We all like sports. We all like some sorts of games. And these are a fairly common type topic in IELTS exams, so it's going to be great to know a fair bit of vocabulary about them. So for now, bye and see you in the next lesson. Only 2 to go. Bye. Howdy folks, it's Dr. Ray from Australia here, back again. We're into our 19th lesson in our series of 20 of IELTS speaking exam lessons. So we only have 1 more lesson to go after this. Up to now, we've been practicing all 3 sections of the speaking exam, so we're getting very good at it. So these next 2 lessons are probably going to be pretty much revision type stuff. But we are going to talk about new vocabulary in this lesson to do with sports and games. So you are going to need to get your vocabulary book and your writing hand ready. Alright, let's go. Sports and games. This is often the type of question that might be asked in part 2 and 3 of the IELTS speaking test, but it could also come up in part 1. Can you imagine the examiner asks you for your details, and then he might say, "Oh, what sort of games and sports do you like to play?" Well, we've got to be able to answer, and we've got to be able to handle it in all sections. Let's move along. Let's have a look. Here we start with some of these things. Some of these games you might know, and some of them you won't. That's okay. How many different sports and games can you think of? Remember, we're talking about sports and games. So, things like board games are probably part of the deal here. So let's have a look. What have we got? We'll match up with the pictures, of course. Football. I think we all know football. We get a round ball and we kick it about. Yeah. Basketball. That's where we run up and down a court and there's a hoop or a ring at both ends, and both teams are trying to get that ball into that little hoop. Tennis. Yes, tennis. We play that with a racket and we hit a ball from one end of a tennis court to the other. Rugby, sometimes called football in English-speaking countries, is a slightly different game to football. Really, the ball is not round. It's shaped like an egg, and you can carry it. But in real football or soccer, we're not allowed to carry it. Cricket, that's a game played with a bat and a ball, and it's played in England, Pakistan, India, Australia, New Zealand. A lot of those countries really like this game. So those are all sports that we've just talked about. They're actually sports. But then, where do we make the distinction between games and sports? Alright, games might be things like Monopoly, which is a board game about buying and selling properties. Pool, sometimes called 8-ball, or billiards, where we have some coloured balls on a table, and with a special type of a stick, we try to put these balls into some holes at the sides of the tables. Chess. This is a board game where people try to use certain maneuvers to outwit each other, to show who is more clever. And hide and seek, of course, this is a children's game we probably all played when we were small. One person is chosen to find the others after giving some time for those people to hide somewhere. We stand somewhere, or we sit somewhere, we close our eyes, or we turn our back, and we count 1, 2, 3, 4, up to whatever the number the other people decide, and then we try to find them. And generally, when we find the first person, then it's that person's turn to hide his eyes, and then come to look after us. Hide and seek. So, why don't we pause the video now and you decide which one of those pictures refers to each one of these sports or games. Okay, you can pause the video now. Alright, so now we're back. From my description, I think we can work this out pretty easily. Football is that one. We see the round ball and somebody's kicking it around. Basketball. Yes, there's a ball, there's a person running up and down the court. That's a pretty fast game. And we get the ball and we put it in the hoop at the other end. Tennis, I don't think anybody would have gotten this incorrect. Rugby, might be a little bit more difficult if you're not used to it. That's rugby. Those people are pushing each other to try to get the ball. Cricket, we use a ball and a bat, and we do need some protective gear because this ball is very hard, and sometimes it can hit people and it can kill them. It's done that in the past. Games. Monopoly. Well, that's a game about capitalism, buying and selling properties and making money. It's an interesting sort of a game, and it trains us for business fairly well. Pool. Nothing to do with a swimming pool, by the way. I don't know why we call it a pool, but we do. We play this game with a stick and some coloured balls, and the aim of this game is to try to get the coloured balls that are designated to you into all the little pockets on the sides of the table before your opposition can do it. We have to take turns. Chess. This is a very ancient game, and it originated from generals preparing for war. And so they are looking at various tactics of what each person can do, or what each piece on that board can do, and how to put the king of the opponent in danger. Hide and seek. As we said earlier, this is a children's game where we cover our eyes while our friends go to hide somewhere, and then we go to look for them. Okay, how did you do? I am sure there's many other sports and games that you can think of. What other games did you think of? Did you think of baseball? That's a sport, isn't it, of course? Oh, and I'm sure there's many other games you could play. All right, now, when we're talking about sports and games, there are special vocabulary items that go with some of them. We have to match the phrases to the games and sports on the right. We see down here, on a pitch, at home, on a court, on an ice rink, in a swimming pool, in a pool hall. Now we probably know most of these down on the right hand side, but on the left we probably don't really know what they mean. On a pitch is a special type of a court on which some sports are played. At home, no problems. On a court, this is not the court where the magistrate sits and tells us how naughty we are and puts us in prison. A different court. Yeah, it means an area on which some sports are played. On an ice rink. Okay, well, a rink is an area on which we can move around. Swimming pool, we know. A pool hall is a place where there's a lot of pool tables or billiards tables or 8-ball tables. So where do you think these are played? How do we describe the place where various games and sports are played? You can pause the video now and come back and we'll check them. Pause now. Okay, if you were clever, you probably went and had a look in a dictionary to see if they would give you any help. Don't forget to be adding some of this to your vocabulary book, which should be, by now, getting rather impressive. So, what do we say? Football or rugby, we say, are played on a pitch. We could sometimes call it a field as well. So two possibilities, on a football pitch or a rugby pitch. At home. What game there would we play at home? Well, there's probably quite a few, but the one that we're thinking about is Monopoly. We'd probably play that at home because it's a board game. We'd probably play it in our living room with some friends or with members of our family. Be careful. There's been many arguments started over a game of Monopoly. We have to remember it's only a game. On a court, we would play basketball and we would play tennis on a court. Normally we might play badminton on a court too, but it's a rather flexible type of a sport. We can just play it in a park as well, can't we? On an ice rink, well, it's pretty obvious here. We've got the word ice and we've got the word winter, so we would probably play a lot of winter sports like skating on an ice rink. In a swimming pool, be careful, we wouldn't play pool or billiards in a swimming pool, I wouldn't think. What's a swimming pool got in it? Water. So we would probably play water sports in a swimming pool. That makes sense, doesn't it? There's only one left. In a pool hall, we will play pool or billiards or 8-ball. How did you do? If you didn't get them all right, it doesn't matter because now we know. We can add these little notes to our vocabulary book, and if we get asked about sports or games, we will be able to expand our answer. When the examiner says, tell me about a sport that you like to play, and you say, I like to play tennis. We play on a court near to our house. Immediately the examiner says, that guy mentioned, or that person just mentioned a court and tennis. This is a person who knows English. So it's good to know a few of these things. What about you? Which of these sports or games do you play? And where do you play them? Are there other sports or games that you like to play? And where do you play them? Vocabulary building extraordinaire. Describing a sport or game. We can talk about the games and sports that we like to play. We can use adjectives to describe them. And don't forget, what might be a wonderful sport or game to one person might not be very exciting to another. So it's all a matter of personal choice. Here are some adjectives and expressions that can be used to describe a sport or a game. So what I want you to do is pause the video shortly and match them up, or you could write them if you like, next to the sport or game that they describe. And then we can compare them. It says here compare with a partner. Well, if you have a partner who's helping you to study this, of course you can make these comparisons. But don't forget, some things will be super exciting to one person, but the same thing might be very boring to another. So we have to take into account our personal preferences. We have 3 particular games or sports we've mentioned down here: basketball, chess, and football. So the comparison is between these 3. Let's have a look at the adjectives that we're given here to play with. Boring. We know boring. Oh, I don't like it. Oh. Captivating. Hey, that's a good word, isn't it? Captivating means, oh, I really like it and I cannot stop. Challenging. It's a little bit difficult, so I really like it. Exciting to watch. Hey, not all sports are the sort that we maybe want to be involved in, but we might like to watch. One of the most famous sports that gets watched a lot is football. We see it on TV. We go to stadiums to see a football match. Fast-paced. That means it's going really fast. Everything happens quickly. Fun. Hey, yay, I like it. Relaxing. Oh, it's very nice. Nothing much to do. Risky. It's a little bit dangerous. Slow. Oh, it goes so slowly. Strategic. Teaches us certain strategies, how to do some things. Tough to play. Difficult. Or you have to be physically strong. Unsafe. Also means like dangerous, doesn't it? Okay, pause the video and decide where you would put these adjectives beside basketball, chess, or football, and come back to me. Pause now. Okay, so we're back. Don't forget, like I said earlier, that one person thinks is exciting, another might think is boring. So it's a matter of personal choice. But in general, what did you think? Okay, very good. So now we're going to think about another sport or game perhaps that you like, or you don't like. That's fine too. And describe them using the adjectives or phrases that we learned just recently. And as we have tried to do in the past a few times, we've practiced it a bit, you can make your descriptions more natural and interesting by using qualifying adverbs such as a bit, a little, slightly, quite, fairly, very, really, and extremely. For example, we might say, I think boxing is quite risky. I think rugby is really exciting. I think cricket is a bit boring. Okay. All right. Let's move on now to part 2, speaking practice. We're getting very good at this, and we should be becoming quite expert at it. We should have gotten over our fear of this part by now, because we know exactly what to do. We know the type of strategies that are going to give us a very good score. So don't forget. Analyze the question, right? What is the tense? What tenses do I need? How many things do I have to talk about? Write a mind map. Right? Take about 1 minute to do that. And then when it's time to speak for up to 2 minutes, following the mind map that you just made. Remember, not everything that you put on your mind map you might actually use in your talk. It's better to have more things to talk about than you really need if you can do that. Because there's nothing worse than stopping at 1 minute and 10 seconds and saying, oh, I don't know what else to say now, right? So better to have more things than what you will probably actually talk about. Here's one. Are you ready? Describe a game or sport you enjoy playing. You should say what sport or game it is, who you play it with, where you play it, and explain why you enjoy playing it. All right. I'm not going to prompt you anymore because I think you know what to do. So pause the video, do what's necessary here, and come back to me. Okay, see you in a few moments. Pause now. Okay, so you're back. Let's see. Did you analyze the question? Good. You knew what tenses to use. Excellent. You knew how many things you have to talk about. That's great too. And did you talk about them all? Did you make a mind map? And then, did you talk about those things for up to 2 minutes? I sure hope so, because if you did, you would be doing very well. Let's have a look at another one. More practice. Practice makes perfect. Describe an indoor game that you enjoyed as a child. You should say what the game was, where you played it, who played this game with you, and say if you liked the game or not, and why. Okay, you know what to do now. Pause the video, do what you have to do, and come back to me and we'll check if you did everything correct. Pause now. Okay, so you're back. Analyze. Did you analyze? So you know what tense you need to use. It was past tense, wasn't it? Yes. Did you know how many things to talk about? Good. Did you make a mind map where you put down the things that you would talk about, plus a few extra things to go with each of them, just in case you needed them? And did you make an opening statement? Did you make a closing statement? Excellent. When you talked, did you time it? Did it take about 2 minutes? Perfect. You're on your way to complete success. All right. And now let's move on to discussion in part 3. This is where we have to be certain to add to our initial sentence. Do you think it's important for people to play games? Do you think mental games like chess are good for you? Do you think physical activity is important? What are the benefits of doing sports? Do you agree that sports stars earn too much money? Okay, you can pause the video, think of some answers that you could use for these. Make sure you expand your answer by giving reasons, consequences, things like that. Make sure that your answer is intelligible. All right, pause the video. Okay, now you're back. Do you think it's important for people to play games? Of course, you would have been thinking as you saw this question, what is the hidden extra question? Why? In my opinion, you see, I'm going to use some of the tactics. In my opinion, I believe that it is important for able-bodied people to play games because it increases their mental and physical capacity. That's not bad. Do you think mental games like chess are good for you? Okay. What's the hidden question? Why? Or what is the result? Right. Do you think physical activity is important? Hidden question. Why? What are the benefits of doing sports? Hidden question. For example. Do you agree that sports stars earn too much money? Of course, this will depend on your own opinion. Don't forget to use certain tactics to answer these questions. Maybe stalling while you think about it. So your question is about sports stars earning too much money. Do I agree or disagree? Well, personally, I believe that sports stars don't earn too much money because the lifespan of their career is dependent very much on their fitness. And fitness is probably going to only last for a certain number of years. So in the time when they are able and capable of performing their sports in their sports career is the time that they need to make enough money to support themselves reasonably well for the rest of their lives. What do you think about that? Would that have worked for you? Something like that. All right. So we're just about at the end of this lesson now. There's not much here. Normally I give a few more exercises to do here, but I think we're coming to the end and you're getting really, really good at being able to do these things, so we don't really need to revise each and every part now because we're already doing that as we go along through each lesson. So in our next lesson, that's going to be our final one. We'll do some vocabulary building about our own possessions, the things that we own, and we will do a little bit of summarizing again just to make sure when we get in the exam we're not nervous and we've got all the points covered. Alright, so for now I will say bye and I will see you in the next lesson, which will be our last lesson in this series. Once you've done that, you will be superbly ready to take on the IELTS speaking exam. See you in the next lesson. Bye for now. So my IELTS friends, at long last, we are here at the last lesson in our series of 20 lessons in our IELTS speaking course. My name is Dr. Raymond Connors. I come from Australia and I have been teaching and instructing IELTS for more than 25 years. And I'm very pleased that you have come all the way in this course, because if you have followed the instructions and followed the examples I have shown, you will do well in your speaking exam. Today we're going to talk about, in our last lesson, about things that we own. This is a reasonably common sort of a question, particularly in part 2 and 3 of IELTS speaking exams. Tell me about something which you own, which you really like. Maybe it was a gift, or maybe it's something that you have at home, or something like that. So we're going to develop our vocabulary to be able to talk about that. Don't forget your vocabulary book by now must be a very big fat book. And you know a lot of new words. But remember, only choose the ones that you are comfortable with. You don't need to know them all, but you might need to be able to recognize some of the other ones. All right, let us move on. So, here we have some things, a little bit of a warm-up. We've got some pictures here, and it's pretty easy to see what some of these pictures are. However, let's have a look. We see over here, what is it? Well, we can soon find out. What I want you to do now is pause the video and see if you can match up the pictures with the words down here. But before we do that, I'll give my little description of what they are so that you won't have too many problems with this. A smartphone. Well, that's like an iPhone, isn't it? Or any other type of phone that can do more than just make phone calls. A car. Well, I don't think we need to explain that too much. A laptop. That's a computer which is portable. You can carry it around. A digital camera takes photographs. Well, of course, so does a smartphone. And possibly, so does a tablet, which is the next thing we're going to talk about. A tablet is like a much more portable type of computer, which we can generally carry in a small case, and it's very handy for moving around on the job. Okay, pause the video, match up the pictures, and we'll come back in a second. Pause now. Okay, so you're back. Let's have a look. What do we say? A smartphone? Yes, we all want to have the latest iPhone, don't we? And they're smartphones. Why do they call them smart? Because they can do lots of things, can't they? They can do heaps of things. Take photographs, play games, connect to the internet, send messages. Gone are the days when a telephone was used only for hello, hello? Gone. A car. Well, of course, I don't think we have to be a genius to decide which one is a car. Some of us already have cars. Some of us would love to have a car. Of course, some of us will have motor scooters. Some of us will have bicycles. And some of us will walk. A laptop. Well, they call it a laptop because it's so small, a computer, it can sit on your lap or on your legs while you're sitting down. A digital camera. That's different from what we call an SLR camera, because a digital camera shows us the picture immediately. We don't have to take it to the laboratory to get the pictures developed so that we can see them. And a tablet is a small phone, a small computer which is handheld. It does most of the stuff that a laptop can do. But a good smartphone can do almost everything that a tablet or a laptop can do anyway. It's just that the image is a lot smaller, so therefore not quite so convenient. I'm sure you did quite well with this part. Okay, let's move along now. What about you? Which ones of these do you own? Which ones don't you own, but you would like to own? Well, if there's any in that category, when you do so well in the IELTS exam, you will get a great job and make enough money to buy all of these things. Oh yes, I'm very confident in your ability. Out of these things, which is the most important to you? This is a very common question in IELTS, by the way. Tell us about a possession which is very important to you. Tell us what it is, where you got it, why it's so important to you, what you do with it. What would you do if you lost it? This type of thing, yeah. So we really do need to know the vocabulary that goes with these things. All right. Describing our possessions. We could have a look in a dictionary to see what these things mean, and of course that means we will be building our vocabulary book. What do they mean? Here they are. We'll talk about them just a little, but you look them up in the dictionary so that you are able to put them into your developing vocabulary book. Beyond repair. Repair means to fix something. Beyond repair means it's too broken to be repaired. Broken. Doesn't work. Convenient. Well, convenient means it's very usable, easy to use. Disposable. I can throw it away. Throw it away when I don't need it anymore. For example, we have disposable cameras, and we can just throw them away when we're finished with them. There's lots of things which are disposable. Essential. Very important to me. I must have it. Gathering dust means we put it away somewhere and we haven't used it for a long time. We say it's gathering dust because it's been there a long time, and the dust that's swirling around in the air will land on it. Handy. Very convenient. We can use it. We like it. Indispensable. In means not. Not dispensable. Not able to be thrown away. In other words, it's so important to us, we would never try to live without it. Irreplaceable. Big word, isn't it? Irreplaceable. We can't get another one. Sometimes it might be something like an original painting, which we have in our house. The artist has died. So if something happens to this painting, we cannot get a new one because the artist can't make it. It's irreplaceable. Nostalgic means it's something that makes me think about the past. Practical. Same like useful a little bit, isn't it? Practical. It's very convenient to use, and I use it a lot. I use it for a special purpose. Priceless. It doesn't matter how much money you want to give me for this thing, I won't sell it. Useless. It's no good. I don't need it. I don't want it. I can't use it. Valuable. It's worth a lot of money. Worthless. It's not worth any money. It's not worth any money at all. Right. Okay. So pause the video. Check these words out in a dictionary. Put the ones that you think are important into your vocabulary book and come back. Okay. So now you're back. Of course, you might not have put all these words in your vocabulary book, but I'm sure you put the ones that you're comfortable using. Okay. See, there you are, putting the words in your vocabulary book, doing very, very well. Tell me about how you would describe these types of possessions. The latest iPhone. We're all trying to get it, aren't we? Your first mobile phone, or cell phone, or handy phone, whatever we call it in your country. The first one you ever owned. How did it compare? How does it compare to your latest iPhone? Or your latest smartphone? How would you describe a camera from the 19th century? The 19th century means the year 1800 to 1899. So can you imagine what a camera from the 19th century would be like? A painting by Leonardo da Vinci. In case you don't know any paintings by Leonardo da Vinci, the Mona Lisa is his probably most famous painting. Look it up if you don't know. Google can be your friend. A plastic cup. Now, when you are thinking about how you will describe these things, you have to put into your imagination that you are speaking to an alien who's come from another planet where they don't have any of these things. So you need to explain things like, what is it? What does it do? What's it good for? What are some positive things about it? What are some negative things about it? And do you like it or not? Okay. This one's exercise is a little bit more difficult, isn't it? However, it's great practice. So pause the video, think about how you'll explain each of these things, and come back. Pause now. Okay. So how did you do with this one? How did you describe to the alien the latest iPhone? So the alien comes up to you and says, "What does this mean, iPhone? What is the latest version of this?" Okay, so you will have to say, "Oh, the latest version of the iPhone is the iPhone number 267. It can take photographs. I can send photographs to my friends with it. I can type messages and send messages to my friends. I can telephone my friends. It will play games for me from the internet. It will cook my coffee for me, and it will iron my clothes for me." Wow, I want one of those. Okay, you get the idea. So you have to be talking about what it can do, what its functions are, things like that, and why it is important to you. All right, let's move along, because I'm sure you can do each and every one of these. There are the things we have to talk about. Hey, did you know that the first mobile phone was very big? Look at it. Oh, that's huge. You wouldn't be able to put that in your pocket, would you? How about a camera from the 19th century? I'm sure it was very big, and it didn't use digital. A painting by Leonardo da Vinci? There is his most famous painting. And a plastic cup. What good is a plastic cup? Imagine telling an alien what it is, how you use it, what it's good for, what you can do with it, and what to do with it when you don't need it anymore. Very good. Describing the use of a possession. Let's have a look at the two halves that form sentences about things. There's one or two things here which are actually idioms in English. So on the left side we've got 6 things, and on the right we've got A, B, C, D, E, F. We want to match these up to make a sensible sentence. I use it to. Okay, we're going to say, what do we use it for? Whatever the thing is we might be describing. It gets me from one place to another means I can use it to transport myself. I use it for, what do I use this thing for? I can run my business. It keeps me, What does it mean, keeps me? It makes sure I'm well informed. It helps me to do something. Okay, pause the video, see if you can match up the two halves of these sentences to make perfect sense. Remember, some of them are idiomatic expressions. And come back to me. Pause now. Okay, so you're back. Let's see what we can do. I use it to make calls, send text messages, and watch videos. What could this thing be? What do you think it is? It gets me from A to B. This is an idiomatic expression. We often talk about going from point A to point B. I'm getting on the aeroplane now, and it's going to take me from A to B. That is, from Brisbane, Australia, to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. So the aeroplane gets me from A to B. I use it for capturing memories of my travels. What could it be? It's probably a camera. We often say a camera captures memories. It's another way of saying makes pictures or takes pictures. By the way, in English, we usually say we take pictures, not we make pictures. Okay. I can run my business on it. On, in this case, doesn't mean on top of something. It means to use something to do something. So I can run my business on it. In other words, I can do all my business by using this particular possession. What could it be? In my case, my business is teaching English online. What would I need? I can run my business on my laptop, right? Okay. It keeps me up to date with the latest news. What could this be? I want to know about the latest news. Well, it could be a TV. It could be a radio. It could be a laptop, a tablet. It could be a smartphone, because with all these things, we can access the news. Right, it helps me rise and shine in the morning. There's a word missing here. It should be in. Rise and shine in the morning. Rise and shine? Idiom. Rise and shine means to wake up. Oh. Rise, get out of bed. Shine, look happy. What could help me rise and shine? Maybe an alarm clock. It could be my smartphone, because it will have an alarm on it. Yeah. Okay. Good. Which possession could each sentence refer to? We've talked about that as we went along. Right. Now let's get into some practice about Part 2 speaking. Remember, you know what to do with this now. You know so well. We've practiced it so well. You should be perfect with this. Just perfect. Analyze the question. Make a mind map for 1 minute and talk for up to 2 minutes by following the points on your mind map. You're very good at this by now. Describe something you own which is very important to you. You should say where you got it from, how long you have had it, what you use it for, and explain why it is so important to you. Analyze. Tenses. Opening statement. Closing statement. How many things do I need to talk about? Mind map for 1 minute. Talk for up to 2. Pause the video. Do it. Now you're back. I think you would have done well. Analyze. Something which is important to you? Present tense. Where you got it? Past tense. How long you've had it? Past tense. What you use it for? Present tense. Why is it important? Present tense. Okay. Describe something useful you have bought. You should say what it is, when and where you bought it. Be careful. There's 2 things there, when you bought it and where you bought it, how you learned to use it, and explain why you think it is useful. You know what to do. Analyze. How many things do I need to talk about? Opening statement, closing statement. Mind map. Prepare it for 1 minute. Talk for up to 2 minutes following the mind map. Pause the video. Now. Okay, you're back. I don't need to ask you, did you do well in this? Because I know you did. Let's move on to Part 3 now, where we have to expand on our answers. What kinds of possessions give status to people in your country? Interesting question. But I'm not going to give away any tactics here. Do you think possessions make people happy? Why do people buy expensive things that they don't need? What effects can expensive possessions have on people? How does advertising influence our buying decisions? Do you think our shopping habits are likely to change in the future? Okay, so what do we have to do with each of these questions? we have to expand our answers. This is part 3. The examiner is looking for us to be able to give reasons, consequences. So, pause the video, think of an answer for each of these questions, and when you've done that, come back. Okay. Did you use some tactics to begin, in my opinion, or I think, or some stalling tactics, for example? And did you add reasons to your answer or consequences? If you did, you will do very well in part 3. Excellent job. So, to sum it up, that's all. This is the end of our course on IELTS Speaking of 20 lessons with me, Dr. Raymond Connors from Australia. You are now very well prepared to do well in the IELTS speaking exam. So let's just do a little quick summary about what we have to do. First, in part 1, the examiner will get your ID details first and ask you to come in, sit down, things like what's your name, and he will ask you to spell your name. Remember, the reason he will ask you to spell your name is because he wants to check that it's the same as on the ID. Secondly, he probably wouldn't have any idea how to spell your name because your name to him is quite foreign, right? But then he will ask you some fairly simple questions about your life and your family and your neighborhood. Questions which you should be able to answer quite easily, but don't forget to expand your answers even in this part. Then comes the part everyone dreads, but you know how to do this extremely well now. You will get a card and it will have questions on it for part 2. During this time, the examiner will not speak to you. The only things he will say is, and now we move on to part 2, I'm going to give you this card. You're to read what's on the card and prepare an answer. Here is a pencil and some paper, and you will have 1 minute to prepare your answer. When the 1 minute is up, I will ask you to start speaking. Now we know what to do with this part. We analyze the question. We find what is the tense. What tenses do I need? I will have an opening statement in my mind anyway. I will have a closing statement in my mind that I have used 1,000 times practicing. Good. Now, I need to make myself a mind map of all the points that I need to discuss, plus a few extra things about each of them so that I will be able to talk for 2 minutes. Then the examiner will say, at the end of 1 minute, you may begin speaking now. Don't hesitate. Begin speaking immediately. Right. With your opening statement, then follow the mind map that you've planned and end your talk with your closing statement. Then will come part 3, where the examiner will ask you some questions that will most probably be somehow related to the question in part 2, but it won't. It doesn't necessarily have to be. Don't forget, expand your answers. The hidden questions are why, so, therefore. If the examiner has to ask these questions, you will lose points. So it's better that you give your answer and continue to expand on your answer, making a complex sentence. This tactic will give you an excellent score. And at the end of it all, of course, you and the examiner will say goodbye. You will go home and you will stress and panic that you have done well. No, there is no need to. If you have followed the instructions up to now, there is no need to panic. There is no need to stress, because your score will be a good score that will make you proud, will get you the job you want, or will get you into the university you want, or will get you a good immigration status to go to an English-speaking country. So, my friend, bye for now. Hopefully, I will see you in my country in a great job or in a good university. And you will say, "Excellent, Dr. Ray. I did very well because I took your lessons." Let's hope so, yeah? Okay, so thank you and bye for now. Congratulations, we are at the end. You are about to undertake the most important step of your life. I won't say good luck, you don't need it. What I will say is try to apply the principles we have talked about, and you will succeed. Bye for now.